Thank you for joining us again in 21 Steps to Start Speaking More Smoothly and Confidently. This is Michael Williams, founder of the Start Speaking Training Center. I've been getting some wonderful comments from people from all over the world, from people of all different ages. Just got one today or yesterday from a 14-year-old young lady, I believe, and I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate your comments. They actually encourage me, so I'm glad that these videos are encouraging you. Let me go ahead and move forward into our next step, which is step number 9. It's step number 9, technique number 4. So remember, we built a foundation, and I know that some of you who have looked at the other videos have seen or heard some of the information before. But sometimes we need to hear it again. Sometimes we need to hear it in different ways. There are times when we may hear something and we're not quite ready for that information right then. We hear it at another time and we're ready for it. We're more open to it. So repeating or hearing information more than once is actually good for us. So we've gone through the foundation. We've gone through some of the techniques, some of the very specific techniques, techniques 1, 2, 3, and now we're looking at technique 4. And technique 4 is to find a model or someone for you to pattern yourself after. So technique 4, this is step 9, technique 4, is to find a model or someone for you to pattern yourself after, or after which for you to pattern yourself. Now, why is this important? Well, this is important because of the fact that one of the things that we need to do as we are training ourselves, right, as we're training ourselves to speak more smoothly and confidently, is we need to distract ourselves. And what do I mean by this? Well, one of the challenges and one of the problems, if you will, is for people who stutter situationally or people who have a great fear of public speaking, is that they are focused on themselves, right? They're focused on, oh my God, I have to speak, I'm going to mess up. If they're not saying that consciously, they're saying it subconsciously, where they're thinking, oh, am I going to stutter? Am I going to be able to say this? What are people going to think of me? In fact, it's very natural for people, for everyone or anyone, including me, to be worried about what people are going to think about them, what people are going to think about their performance. That's very, very natural. What happens, though, is some people allow that fear, that normal fear or anxiety of what people will think of them, they allow that to overcome them, to overtake them. Makes sense. So what we want to do then is to literally distract ourselves from ourselves. We want to distract our thinking from thinking about me and how I'm going to speak to thinking about something else, okay? And the first something else that I'm going to be sharing with you is to start thinking about yourself as modeling or patterning yourself after someone else. So you find someone out there on the web or on TV that you admire how they speak. You admire the way they move their head, the way they stand, the way they talk, their intonations, their inflections, the way they use their hands. Whatever it is that you like about that person, you want to read everything you can about them. You want to watch their videos. You want to listen to their audio. And when you're speaking, you actually want to pretend that you're them. So you want to kind of acquire some of their characteristics and the way that they speak. You want to acquire that, and you want to make believe or pretend like you're that person when you're speaking. What this does is now it distracts you from thinking about yourself to thinking that you're actually them when you're speaking. Now, I'm not talking about anything weird. It's basically what actors do. They get into what? Character. They get out of themselves and they get into character. And the better that they're able to get into character, the better actors they are. So think of yourself as, when you're going to speak, that you're an actor, right? So when you have to present, you're an actor. So someone says, yes, well, Michael, again, that works great for presenting. What about daily conversation? Well, remember, the more you speak well, the better you'll speak. The more you speak, the more you practice speaking, the better you're going to speak all around in every situation. So yes, while I might be talking about presenting and ways to present better, or ways to practice presenting, what you're doing is the more you present and the more you use even this technique of modeling, that is pretending you're someone else when you speak, the more practice you're going to get speaking well, right? So you're not going to have to think about how you're breathing, because you're going to be watching someone else and studying how they breathe. How do they breathe? How do they speak? How do they move their hands? What's their rhythm? What's their intonation when they're speaking? And you're going to copy that, and you're not going to have to consciously think about how you do it, because you're going to be copying how they do it, all right? And the more you do that, the more it'll become natural to you, or the more it'll become like an instinct or second nature. And the more that happens, the more that speaking style will transfer into your daily conversations. Does that make sense? So by practicing speaking and presenting, and by using modeling, distracting yourself, pretending you're someone else, and the more you learn how to use your abdomen, and the more you learn how to use your chest, and the more you learn how to breathe and speak and flow, the more you do that, the more that will become natural and second nature, and the easier it will be, and the faster it will transition or transfer into daily speech, right? You may not think there's a link, you may not think it will, but it does. It will, okay? Trust me, it will. It may take some time, it may take longer than you want, but it will work. So this technique is about finding a model for you to pattern yourself after. Find someone that you admire, that you like the way they speak, you like their voice, you like their flow, and pattern yourself after them. Now here's what will eventually happen. You'll no longer really need to do that, because the more you do it, the more it becomes second nature. You'll start to find yourself in that speaking style. That is, you'll find your own speaking style. You'll adapt and adopt different characteristics and techniques from that person or from someone else, and then it'll become yours. It'll become yours. Now initially, when you get up to speak, you may just get excited and feel like you're that person, right? But eventually, you'll feel confident in and of your own self, and it'll be your own speaking style. Once again, this may take some time, but so what? So what if it takes 2 years or 3 years? After 2 or 3 years, you'll be on your own. You'll be speaking smoothly and confidently. You won't have to think about speaking, or are you going to stutter, or are you going to be nervous when you speak. All that'll be behind you. Some people say, well, I don't want to wait a year or 6 months or 2 years or 3 years. Well, if you don't want to wait, then you're probably going to find yourself going around and around in circles until eventually you lock into something and you stick with it and you do it. So you might as well start now, because you want to look back a year from now and say, wow, look at how far I've come in just this 1 year. And in a year from then, you'll look back in and say, wow, look at how far I've come. So technique 4, this is step 9, technique 4, is to find yourself someone to pattern yourself after. Find a model to pattern yourself after, and then study that person and adopt and adapt their speaking style, their characteristics, and make them your own. Okay? Thank you very much, and this is Michael Williams, and I'll see you in the next video.